The time has come to talk about SummerSlam 2002, but before we get to that, do you want to be the next big thing? Check out Blue Chew, the chewable tablet that helps you have better sex. The link is in the description box below. Make sure to use the promo code Denise. Alright, so let's get into the massive highlights of this show. So, I have a lot to say, but I want to start off with the way that we kicked off the show by saying that no SummerSlam has ever started as magnificent as this one did with Kurt Angle versus Rey Mysterio. I mean, you legitimately have two of the greatest wrestlers of all time just going out there and putting on a freaking banger of a match. While watching this, it made me start to feel kind of bad because I feel like even to this day, I don't really think that there's a lot of people that can wrestle the way that Kurt Angle and Rey Mysterio do. And so when you watch them have this match, all of a sudden, so many people start to look like imitations of Kurt and Rey Mysterio because they just do things very, very differently. They move differently. It just clicks in all the right places. They are freaking good. This match was amazing, and it reminded me why I was such a big fan. Well, obviously, of both Rey Mysterio and especially Kurt Angle, who many of you guys know is in my top three favorite professional wrestlers of all time. This match made me remember why I appreciate them. And that's been one of the cool things about going back and watching these Summer Slams is that a lot of wrestlers, I'm like, oh yeah, that's why I'm a big fan of them. And there's going to be two guys that we talk about later on in the show that I also feel this exact same way because, it's been a while since you've seen some of these people, go out there and have these types of matches. And even Rey Mysterio, we're seeing him all the time, but he's not in the ring with people like Kurt Angle. So, of course, you're going to get different types of matches. And of course, he's older now. But all this to say, this match was freaking awesome. And if you're watching this review right now, after you're done, please go back and rewatch this match. And I promise it will make your day so much better. The next highlight that I have to get to is Ric Flair versus Chris Jericho. So, when this match started, I couldn't remember anything about this feud. And as I was watching the match, I started to think, well, this match is not that great. And maybe that's part of the reason why I just didn't remember too much from Ric Flair and Chris Jericho. I didn't think the match was good, and I also thought that the ending was kind of lame, especially because they did this whole thing where they tried to save Chris Jericho, where you had Ric Flair tap and grab the rope at the exact same time. So the match continued, and Ric Flair defeated Chris Jericho, and he tapped out to the figure four leg lock. Like, think about that. Why would you have Chris Jericho at the time lose to Ric Flair? It didn't make sense then, but I really wasn't thinking about it in that way back then. But I sure as hell thought about it this way now. So these next two highlights I'm gonna kind of morph together because it has to do with the un-Americans. And I gotta tell you guys, I love this. Back then I didn't. Growing up, I did not like the un-Americans. I hated them. But watching them now, I kind of appreciate them. And it's Tess, Christian, and Lance Storm. And there's two matches in which we see the un-Americans get featured. The first one is Christian and Lance Storm versus Booker T and Goldust, and the other one is The Undertaker versus Tess. The Undertaker versus Taz was really not that great. The tag team match was definitely a little bit better, but it's more so that I enjoy the Un-Americans in terms of how much they hated America and the promos that they did, and how commentary Jim Ross was like, if they don't like it, they shouldn't even be here. They should just go home. And there was a really funny part where Christian said that American teens know Britney Spears songs, that they know all the name to Britney Spears songs, but they do not know the Bill of Rights. And I thought, yeah, that sounds about right, even to this day. So I loved the Un-Americans now, but I didn't appreciate them back then. Back then, I hated them. Now, I like the Un-Americans. But of course, the other people that I have to talk about is Booker T and Goldust. I loved always loved the pairing of Booker T and Goldust. I mean, I think back to so many of their funny moments. One of them, of course, being when they go to 7-Eleven and Goldust is being all freaky with Booker T, when he does the Star Wars bit. I mean, there are so many. And recently, when I was doing these little nostalgia vids, I would go back and watch some funny moments from like back in the day. And of course, some of the first ones that I typed in were Booker T and Goldust on YouTube. And I just rewatched their skits and like reacted to them. And you can watch those on Instagram if you're interested in that. And so I just, oh God, they were so freaking funny. So freaking funny. And Goldust always made you feel sort of uncomfortable. And he made Booker T feel uncomfortable. So it was really hilarious. They just did so much funny shit. Booker T and Goldust to me are definitely some of the old memories that I always like to relive. And so, anyways, want to shout them out here because we get to talk about them because that's where they were teaming. But now the next highlight that I want to get into was a phenomenal match that to this day I have not forgotten. So, going back and watching this SummerSlam, it brought it all back because whenever I think of the feud between Shawn Michaels and Triple H, I always think back to this match because there were so many things. I don't even know where to begin with this match. So it had been 1,609 days since Shawn Michaels had last wrestled because he was gone due to his broken back. When Triple H turned on Shawn Michaels, I was so freaking heartbroken after this. I was a fan of Triple H, but I just could not understand why he was doing the things that he was doing to Shawn Michaels. Now, keep in mind, I was like 9, 10 years old at this time. So I was just thinking that all of this was real. The attack where Shawn Michaels was left bloodied in the back after getting his face smashed into a car, I legit thought that was real. And I was so heartbroken over it. And this was just the story that grabbed me. And this was a reminder of why I was a fan of Triple H at the time and why I was always a fan of Shawn Michaels too. And I really remembered this match because I remembered how vicious and how mean and how cruel Triple H was to Shawn Michaels, where he just kept attacking and attacking the back of Shawn Michaels. He would hit him with chairs, he would hit him with the belt, literally anything and everything. And I want to take a second to put over Jim Ross in this match because Jim Ross did commentary. And I truly think, at least just based off of recent memory, I truly think that that is the best match Jim Ross has ever called in terms of the commentary that he brought really, really put over the story of this match. He made Triple H seem like such the meanest, coldest monster out there. And he made you believe that Shawn Michaels would go through anything and all types of pain just to come out and make it because he had a big heart. Jim Ross made this match so much better with his commentary. He was pissed, he was angry, he was bringing heart, but he was also really bringing like the human element of it. And he wasn't just a commentator. He was adding and building to the story. And I got to say, this is my favorite match that Jim Ross has ever called because, again, I don't think I can remember another time where he really just added and enhanced to the actual story that these two guys were telling. It was just perfect. If you don't believe me, go back and watch and really listen to Jim Ross's commentary during this match. After several minutes of Triple H beating on Shawn Michaels ends up avoiding a pedigree and hits Triple H with a low blow. This allows for Shawn Michaels to finally get some fight in this match, and he even gets Triple H to get busted open. And Shawn puts Triple H on a table, goes to the top rope, and hits a splash on him. And then at one point, he climbs the ladder, hits the elbow drop off the top of the ladder. So that was really cool. And then we see Shawn Michaels go for his sweet chin music, but Triple H counters for a pedigree. But then Shawn Michaels counters that into a roll up and ends up winning this match. I love this match then, and I love it to this day. And then at this point, you're thinking, well, how the hell are they going to follow up a match like that with a story like that that got people's emotions like that? Well, hot and fast with Brock Lesnar versus The Rock. So, really quickly, just to recap, Brock had defeated RVD to become King of the Ring and earned this match here at SummerSlam. As for The Rock, he had defeated The Undertaker and Kurt Angle to become undisputed champion and make it to this match. I also love the training footage that they showed between both of these guys because it reminded me of Rocky 4. So I love the training footage. But what was cool about this was when this match started, when The Rock came out, he just ran out there and just started freaking fighting. Also, present note, I kind of hope that they do this with Drew McIntyre and CM Punk because I think the feud has gotten to that point. But, anyways, back to the past. This match is high energy, high intensity. Of course, we keep seeing Paul Heyman get involved in this match, but this match was cool because they didn't hit the brakes at any point and it was enjoyable the whole way through. And I feel like they had to have this match like this for multiple reasons. One, it's The Rock and Brock Lesnar. It's got to be high intensity, right? But then at the exact same time, it had to be different and it had to follow that Shawn Michaels Triple H match. The Rock hit Brock Lesnar with a low blow when the referee wasn't looking, and then rock bottoms Paul Heyman into the commentary table. This was fun to see, especially coming off the fact that just a couple weeks ago we saw Paul Heyman also get put through a table on SmackDown by the Bloodline. But back to this match, though, there's a big moment where Brock kicks out of the rock bottom and it gets a huge reaction. And The Rock is literally perplexed by this. The fans are chanting, "Fight forever." And then finally, after some more back and forth, we eventually see Brock get the win. It was so good. Oh, also go back and watch this match, please. There's at least 3 matches here that you should go back and definitely check out just to kind of remember how cool they were. So now, as for the ratings, best match, I of course have to give it to the incredible storytelling that we saw between Triple H and Shawn Michaels. Worst match, unfortunately, because I was the most bored with it, was The Undertaker versus Test. So now, as for the rating, I really had a good time watching this show. And there was 3 matches that I absolutely loved. Of course, that was Kurt Angle and Rey Mysterio. And then it was Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and that Brock and Rock match at the end of the show. Because of those 3 matches, I gotta give this show a 13 out of 13. So there you go. That was my rating for SummerSlam 2002. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys thought of the show, which matches you absolutely loved, what you guys thought about that killer match with Triple H and Shawn Michaels in the comments section below. I appreciate you guys so much. Give some love to our sponsors, Blue Chew, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye, everyone. Another SummerSlam that I really enjoyed was SummerSlam 2000. Check out the video right here, and don't forget to subscribe.